The world is celebrating International Tiger Day today in an attempt to continue raising awareness on the endangered species that in Asia has been limited to around 4% of their historic range. These powerful cats play a crucial role in many ecosystems that supply humans with water and food. And for a country like Nepal, tigers have also been a crucial part of the tourism industry. However, loss of habitat, poaching and human-wildlife conflicts have continued to threaten their existence. Good morning, I'm Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. It's International Tiger Day today. Nepal manages to double the number of endangered cats to 355 in a decade, but poaching and human-wildlife conflicts still pose a threat. The number of students enrolling in technical education goes down dramatically as more youths leave for alternatives abroad. Experts call for a restructuring of CTE-VT. Niger military declared General Abdurrahman Tichiani as the new head of the state following a coup. Tichiani urges ministers for cooperation with the new regime. And 3 matches scheduled at the FIFA Women's World Cup for today. Sweden are up against Italy, France will see Brazil, while Panama play Jamaica. In the wake of the recent untoward developments, Kantipur Publications has clarified that it does not intend to lay off employees illegally or violate any existing laws. Issuing a press release, the publications has ensured any permanent employee who resigns voluntarily would be provided with provident fund and gratuity as per existing laws. The publications has also expressed regret over the obstruction in the distribution of Kantipur Daily and the Kathmandu Post for the past 1 week and added that external forces had capitalized for their vested interests. The publications is looking into alternative ways to ensure distribution and has assured its subscribers would be fairly compensated. Meanwhile, in case of contract-based employee, the publications has taken the press release as an opportunity to remind all concerned that the right to renew their contracts remained between the two parties. The publications has stated it is committed to provide necessary compensations as per laws in case the term of a contract-based employee is not extended. The Department of Revenue Investigation has begun weighing the boxes it retrieved from the office of Ready Trade Private Limited in Sorakutte that had imported the brake shoe containing 100 kilograms of gold on 19th of July. The department had raided the office on Wednesday earlier this week and confiscated 66 boxes of brake shoes. The department also retrieved a machine that melts gold along with the boxes. Based on previous records, Ready Trade Private Limited had been receiving deliveries from China's Dongguan Sutu Transportation Company and Xiangfen Transportation Company and Taiwan's Dalmart Company. Ready Trade had imported goods weighing 1,997 kilograms in the past 2 months alone. When the Department of Revenue Investigation confiscated the 100 kilograms gold in 19th of July earlier this month, the company had imported 36 boxes through Cathay Pacific flight on 14th of July. 8 of the boxes which had the gold had cleared the customs and was on its way to its destination when it was confiscated from the capital's Sinamangal. The Revenue Investigation Department has been probing the latest case of gold smuggling that had occurred on the 19th of July when over 100 kilograms of smuggled gold was confiscated. Prior to this, in the year 2016, the gold smuggling from UAE had revealed the connection of Nepali nationals. Since then, the smugglers continued to search for alternative routes of gold smuggling. Now, a new route for gold smuggling via Hong Kong has made the scenario all the more complicated. In the year 2016, the Central Investigation Bureau of Nepal Police had confiscated 33 kilograms of gold, which was smuggled via Dubai. A CIB team even reached Dubai at the time to proceed with its investigation. The investigation at the time had led to the arrest of 24 individuals. Chudamani Upreti alias Gore was nabbed as the mastermind, while 2 individuals, including Sam Shakya, were killed. Now, 7 years later, the gold smuggling route has been changed. About 6 months ago in December, one Sudanese national who had arrived from Dubai was arrested from the TIA customs in possession of 19 kilograms of gold. A month later, one Canadian national was arrested with 9 kilograms of gold as he had used the same Dubai route. The CIB also probed the 9-kilogram gold smuggled through electric cigarettes as the smuggling also witnessed some Chinese connection. The latest incident of gold smuggling involving over 100 kilograms of gold has now been connected with Hong Kong. The department has now reached the conclusion that the confiscated gold was not owned by any Nepali investors. It is yet to be seen whether the investigations can reach to the mastermind and the owner of the confiscated gold. So far, it has been established that Nepal was used as a transit point while the gold's market was India. Meanwhile, security analysts maintain that if the investigations into the scam is not able to dig deep into the case, it will raise question marks on the entire security channels of the country. There is a constitutional provision of the Constitutional Council recommending the name of new Chief Justice 1 month prior to the expiry of the term of incumbent Chief Justice. However, with only 8 days remaining for CJ Harikrishna Karki's term to expire, the recommendation process is yet to begin. The scenario has indicated towards a caretaker Chief Justice taking the reins of the judicial system. Chairperson of the Constitutional Council, Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal, returned from his visit to Italy yesterday. Just prior to this, another member of the council, former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, had toured Cambodia. In the absence of the two leaders, the Constitutional Council meeting was affected as a recommendation for the new Chief Justice could not be made. The scenario is such that when the incumbent Chief Justice Harikrishna Karki retires on 5th of August, the judiciary is likely to be taken over by a caretaker Chief Justice once again. As per the sub-Article 3 of Article 284 of the Constitution, a Chief Justice should be recommended a month prior to the expiry of incumbent CJ. After the ouster of Karki on 5th of August, Senior Justice Vishwambar Prasad Shrestha will be entrusted with the caretaker Chief Justice job. Even if the Council recommends the name of the new Chief Justice in the next few days, it will follow the lengthy process of parliamentary hearing and appointment, which is likely to take up a few more weeks. Institutions affiliated to the Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training (CTE-VT) have received just around 30% applications this year, as an increasing number of youths are leaving the country for higher education abroad. The alarming exodus has also been attributed to lack of opportunities back home. Considering the scenario, experts have called for restructuring the entity and put a stop on handing out affiliations arbitrarily. Most institutions across the country that have CTE-VT affiliation are facing shortage of students. In some, the applications for subjects like architect engineering has been nil, while the numbers are also low for subjects like automobile, hydropower and civil engineering. Despite having capacity for 75,000 students, just around 30% have applied for technical education as opposed to 48% last year. Guardians opine CTE-VT has been handing out affiliations arbitrarily under political influence and that there is a serious lack of opportunities after acquiring the certificate against the expensive fees. Experts have expressed concerns on the scenario and have called for a restructuring of the entity. It's International Tiger Day today, which Nepal has been celebrating since the year 2010. A century ago, the predators ranged around 100,000 in numbers. However, a decade back, their numbers had declined to 3,200. In 2010, countries gathered in Russia's St. Petersburg and jointly decided to raise efforts to protect the species. As part of the effort, Nepal also managed to double the number of tigers, which till 2022 had reached 355. Chitwan is home to 128 tigers, Bardia National Park has 125, Bake has 25, Parsa 41 and Sukla Fata 36. In our Public Voice segment, we've asked people in several provinces why has the government turned deaf ears to the plight and problems of the public. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
राजनीतिक दलको भागभण्डा र माथि गएर कुर्सी तानातान र आफ्नो पदको लागि मरिहत्ती गरेकै कारण
भ्रष्टाचारीमा लिप्त भएको कारणले जनताहरूको समस्या बुझ्नमा र समस्यालाई समाधान गर्नतिर लागिरहेको छैन।
हामी किसानलाई त हेर्दैन नि, उन त आफ्नै कुर्सीमा लडिरहेछन् त उहाँ आफ्नो स्वार्थको लागि।
एकअर्कालाई दाउ हेरेर सरकारलाई फेल गर्न उसमा मात्रै लागिरहेछन्।
खडेरीको बेलामा अलिअलि रोपेको धान पनि मल हाल्न पाएका छैनन्। उनीहरू आफ्नै कुर्सीको खेलमा चाहिँ लागिरहेको छन्।
सरकार सत्ताकै खेलमा लागिरहेको छ, ग्राउन्ड लेभलमा गएर जनताको समस्या बुझेको नै छैन।
कुर्सी तानतान भएर सबै उति गरिरहेछ, लडिरहेछ।
बाढी पीडितले त्यतिकै भइरहेछन्। आज उनीहरू चाहिँ मजासँग कुर्सी तानातान गरेर खोसाखोस गरेर बसेका छन्।
पार्टीहरूले नै सरकार बनाउनु पर्ने र सरकार अस्थिर भएन
5 वर्षसम्ममा जनताले बिर्सिसक्छ अनि त्यो पछि फेरि मलाई नै भोट दिन्छ भन्ने सोचेको होला तर अब त्यति लाटा छैन जनता
विभिन्न खालका काण्डको भुमरीमा नेताहरू परेका छन् त्यो कारणले गर्दा जताततैले पानी सुकै सुका छ कहीँ पानी नै छैन अब न केन्द्रको सरकारको ध्यान छ न स्थानीय सरकारको ध्यान छ
जुन जनतामाझ हुनु आएको समस्याहरू छ त्यसलाई उठाउन सकिरहेको छैन
स्थायित्व सरकार नभएको कारणले
जो गरिब महिलाहरू छ तिनीहरूको त मतलब स्वास्थ्य उपचारको लागि पनि त हेर्नुभयो सरकारले
भागभण्डामै व्यस्त हुनुहुन्छ सबजना
सरकारको उद्देश्य भनेको आफ्नो अब दलीय स्वार्थ र आफ्नो चाहिँ कुर्सी बचाउ अभियानमा मात्र लागिरहेको देखिन्छ
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what should be done for the expansion of cold storage to save agricultural produce? Your options are A, increase investment, B, pressure from farmers, and C, utilize existing resources. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Let's move on to the international update. Niger military officers have declared General Abdurrahman Tichiani as the new head of state, saying that they suspended the constitution and dissolved all former institutions after overthrowing President Mohamed Bazoum. Tichiani was the head of the presidential guard that shot Bazoum in his palace on Wednesday this week and then declared it had ousted him because of bad governance and worsening security. The general appeared on state television last night with a banner on the screen that described him as the president of a newly formed military council, the National Council for Safeguarding the Homeland. Tichiani also met with ministers and urged them to cooperate with the new regime. President Mohamed Bazoum was ousted in a 7th military takeover in West and Central Africa in less than 3 years. The upheaval has raised concerns about the security of a region where Niger has been a key ally of Western powers seeking to contain insurgencies by groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. Recovery efforts are underway in southern China after Typhoon Doksuri swept through the region and unleashed heavy rain and strong winds yesterday. Emergency workers were seen clearing large trees that had been uprooted from roads and rescuing local residents stranded in floodwaters. In Fujian's Guangzhou, 35 villagers were rescued from floodwaters reaching depths of up to 2 meters. Doksuri's wind speed has been downgraded to that of a severe tropical storm, but its massive rain bands are still expected to arc as far as Beijing on Sunday or the day after. Heated protests erupted on the streets of Lima as President Dina Boluarte addressed Congress, seeking legislative powers from Congress to fight crime in the country. Tear gas went flying as protesters faced off with police, with demonstrators demanding Boluarte be ousted from office. Boluarte, who succeeded Pedro Castillo after he was removed from the office and jailed last December, has faced waves of protests since taking power, in which more than 60 people have died. The president apologized to family members of civilians, police and military members killed during her address. The deadly clashes between demonstrators and security forces have led to more protests and allegations of human rights abuses against Boluarte, who is facing multiple investigations for her actions during the unrest. French President Emmanuel Macron met his Sri Lankan counterpart Ranil Wickremesinghe during a brief overnight stopover in the South Asian nation last night. Macron's visit was the first by a French president to the island nation. During Macron's meeting with Wickremesinghe, shared regional and global challenges as well as a debt restructuring strategy involving the two countries were discussed. Macron made the stopover after visiting Papua New Guinea, New Caledonia and Vanuatu. Ottawa was hit by an intense deluge of hail, with large fragments of ice falling in the Canadian capital. The nation's meteorological agency, Environment Canada, had earlier issued a severe thunderstorm warning, forecasting hail and winds of up to 90 kilometers per hour. Video and photographs posted on social media showed hailstones roughly the size of a golf ball. The storm caused substantial damage to the area, leaving over 10,000 customers without power in Ottawa and neighboring Gatineau, leading Hydro Ottawa to describe it as a multi-day restoration event. There were no reports of injuries in either city. Republican 2024 presidential hopefuls talked up their platforms at the Lincoln Day dinner in Des Moines in Iowa. Many of the Republican candidates vowed to defeat U.S. President Joe Biden during their speech. Among them, Trump, calling him the most crooked president in the history of the United States and grossly incompetent. Trump's rival, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, pledged to send military to the country's southern border to fight Mexican drug cartels and illegal immigration. Trump's lead over nearest rival DeSantis has grown in recent time. At least 4 people are feared dead after an Australian Defence Force helicopter crashed into the ocean off the coast of Queensland. The helicopter was taking part in the biennial Talisman Sabre military exercises between the US and Australia. The helicopter ditched into the waters close to Hamilton Island late last night. Search and recovery efforts were started immediately by another helicopter taking part in the exercise and are ongoing. Talisman Sabre exercises have been put on pause. Bolivia's government is determined to curb dependence on the US dollar for foreign trade, instead turning to Chinese yuan as Latin American support for alternative currencies grows. Economy Minister Marcelo Montenegro this week said some importers from the Andean nation are already converting to yuan. Bolivia has faced months of severe dollar shortages, driven in part by falling natural gas production, a key national export. Net foreign currency reserves have fallen to roughly $4 billion from a peak of $15 billion in 2014, pressuring state finances and threatening Bolivia's long-defended currency peg with the dollar. Meanwhile, at the shops, entrepreneurs are concerned that the use of yuan could limit the number of companies they can do business with. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan has said Turkey and Hungary are in close coordination on the ratification process of Sweden's NATO alliance membership application. Speaking in a joint press conference with his Hungarian counterpart, Peter Szijjártó, in Budapest, Fidan said that Sweden took some steps in line with Turkey's demands in fight against terrorism, but they expect further steps from Stockholm. Turkish Parliament will debate Sweden's NATO membership ratification when it reopens in October. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.